Cause I got shit to do.
You ain't from the hood.
Cause I got shit to do.
You ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood.
I got
You ain't never
shit
got
to
put
do.
on, you ain't from the hood.
I got
Niggas always
shit
claim to say
to do.
blood ain't from the hood. Hell no.
That's why I
You
got
ain't never
shit
got put
to
on,
do.
you ain't from the hood. Oh, I live in the hood, ass nigga. Never got put on, always claiming the hood though. Oh, you fucking with the homegirl, but don't come to the hood with none of your damn homeboys. They don't get a pass. Had the little homies press they ass for your tattoos. Had your mama waking up to some bad news. The plug saying groove, I'm a dime. I was long in the race, skinny nigga with the braid, took a 2-man fade. I'm really from the hood. I took a fucking break to get my money right, but I was banging on the plane in the meeting with Jermaine. They like, poet, oh you bang? They forgot where I came from. I was gang banging when it wasn't fun. Homie doing life right now, cause we don't play the from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood.
Where my Beth Roberts at? I ain't saw my
Niggas
Beth
always
Roberts.
said blood ain't from the hood.
I ain't saw my Beth Roberts in the chat in a couple of.
You ain't never got put on, you ain't
Damn
from the
lie.
hood. And that goes for these hoes too. Start fucking on niggas and throwing these niggas hood up. Ha, little dot. Heard you gave a homie head in the trap spot. Got a throwaway in the stash spot. Boy, you not real, like a Sasquatch. Boy, I'm so high, I'm seeing astronauts. Boy, I ball hard, I need a mascot. Oh, and Swahili, I'm a damu. My little cousin making paru. My nigga Uzi, he from Fly Deuce. Pad blows, I be hanging with some real whoops. Gang signs out the window when we drive coupes. Making money with some crips like it's 92. Banging on tracks, banging on tracks. Back in my days, it was banging on. You ain't from the hood. Nah, you ain't get put on, you ain't from the hood.
Uh-oh. Who was that?
You ain't never
Blue
got put
Grass
on, you ain't from the hood.
Good looking out.
Niggas always claim to say blood ain't from the hood. Hell no. You ain't never got put on, you ain't from the hood.
Fuck Chris Brown, nigga. Pull up in the hood right
This
now.
what you wanted, Bluegrass? This what you donated for, was Bluegrass?
Frogs.
You ain't from the hood.
Bluegrass Berserker, this what you came to see. This what you donated for. You came to see this shit right here. They tried to hide this interview. Woke up early in the morning. I saw Joe Biden had a damn press conference at the G7. I said, what the hell we missed? It was early in the morning. So they had to wake up Joe Biden at vampire time. I'm like, what in the hell is this? They doing shows and they doing press conferences and we don't know nothing about it. So early by the time we wake up, we didn't know shit. So me personally, it's early where I'm at. Is what? Oh, it's 11 o'clock, so it's 4 o'clock, so it's still late, you know what I'm saying? But it's still early. Some of you haven't saw this shit, right? So we're going to get into the G7 press conference Joe Biden had today. And you know this shit is going to be ridiculous. And you know I had to add some ingredients into this shit to make it a gumbo. I just can't do a press conference because that would be boring. So I had to add the gumbo in. Let's roll because I got shit to do. I got to get dressed. I got a show today. I got to get dressed. Let's roll. Berserker. Let's grow. Let's go.
Mr. President, 2 questions, please.
Of course.
2 questions might blow his damn mind. 2 questions, bitch. Hold on. I only can answer 1 question at a time. Ain't you saw my last press conferences? When I know the first question, I got to go back and ask you the second damn question. You know these questions ain't wrote down, or is they?
America is back was your motto at the first NATO summit last year, and you've come to this summit here and the one in Germany after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned constitutional protections for abortion, after the shootings in Buffalo and Texas, at a time of record inflation, and as new polling this week.
Look at her. She having a threesome. She like Filipino girls holding a dick to her mouth. Like I was just watching a porno earlier, and it was like a threesome, and old girl was doing the same thing. I'm like, I'm having a flashback. Let me get my mind off of this perverted stuff. And it was a Filipino girl and a black girl in the porno. They didn't look nothing like these girls. They had their hair done. They were butt ass naked. She was a little slimmer. The Filipino girl was a little slimmer. The black girl was a little darker. Had a big old booty and some implants. You know what I'm saying? But they was in this position right there. I couldn't see the man, but they was in this position right there, and they was both on it, right? Like, it's just a flashback. My bad.
Shows that 85% of the U.S. public thinks the country is going in the wrong direction.
85, 99. I'm trying to find who the other 20% is. They must be millionaires and billionaires. You know what I'm saying? But even Bill Gates and, not Bill Gates, even Elon Musk and Bezos say the country is fucked up. So who are these other 20% saying, you know what, the country is fine for me? I'm doing just okay. It has to be all liberals and Democrats saying, oh, the 20%. Oh, the country is in fine condition. It's perfect.
How do you explain this to those people who feel the country is going in the wrong direction, including some of the leaders you've been meeting with this week, who think that when you put all of this together, it amounts to an America that is going backward?
Not forward. We ain't back, bitch. We backwards. Watch Joe Biden say he gonna tell her what she heard. Like, bitch, you never heard no shit like that. I never heard it, and they never heard it. You're lying. He basically calling her lying, right? And saying what she heard. You never heard, just like he said with Hunter Biden. You know this. You know there's been no evidence to give me, not a tiny bit. Not this one fraction. He's saying the same shit about people from other countries saying shit about his abortion and the Supreme Court ruling, right? Even though I don't agree with it, right? But he's still getting criticized for it by other nations, saying he can't control this shit. What's wrong? You can't control your hoes?
They do not think that. You haven't found one person, one world leader to say America's going backwards.
What? They didn't think that. Okay, if they were talking about abortions, right, they did say America was going backwards. Now, they talking about the economy, they still can say America was going backwards. You didn't see that. You didn't hear that. Not one leader said that. Why, nigga, you talk to all of them? You know they talk behind your back, Joe.
America's better positioned to lead the world than we ever have been. We have the strongest economy in the world. Our inflation rates are lower than other nations in the world.
As you can see, in the U.S. is higher than all the major European economies.
So Joe Biden lying. They can fact check that. Huh? Joe Biden lying, trying to make us feel good. Oh, well, that's like snitching, right? You get caught. Like, look, I may be cheating, but he cheat too. He cheat too. I may steal, but everybody steal. I'm not the only person that stole. No, nigga, we talking about you. We ain't talking about everybody else. Everybody else do it. No, nigga. Not everybody else. Joe Biden and the United States. Not everybody else. We ain't got time to be thinking about everybody else. Everybody else do it. Why can't I do it?
Despite what the president said.
The one thing that has been destabilizing is the outrageous behavior of the Supreme Court of the United States in overruling not only Roe v. Wade, but essentially challenging the right to privacy.
The reality of inflation and a slowing economy is not lost on average Americans. We're having a hell of a time right now just making ends meet.
Joining us right now.
And why in the hell is India over there bragging about how they doing the food and Joe Biden talking about we about to hit the shortage? I don't know how. I mean, it may be a plan that may be fucked up to some, but at least they got a plan on food shortages. They over there bragging about their country doing better than ours. Hey, I'm on a live show. I'll call you right back. They over there bragging that their country is doing better than ours on food. They're like, yeah, we prepared for the food shit. If some shit go down, we prepared. The United States ain't saying none of that.
Dhanshu Pandey, the food secretary himself. Mr. Pandey, great to have you on the show. First, help us understand whether or not food inflation you think has peaked out, or is there more to come?
Food inflation, they're like, they say they shit is peaked out. They're not talking about gas. They're talking about food inflation. Is your food inflation? Because we had inflation on food. So let's worry about that before we worry about the gas, because we getting our gas on the low from Russia, right? So what about the food? Is our food coming back together?
Food inflation, if you compare it with many other countries, is still very much under control in India.
In India, what I say, yeah, India, right? What the hell do Joe Biden got under control? They say we got under control compared to other nations, including the United States.
If you look at the prices of cereals vis-a-vis many countries, and including the edible oil prices and some of the other commodities.
Huh? Oil prices going down. Look at food duty cuts. They got fuel cuts and all that shit. They got a plan. Why Joe Biden ain't got one?
India is still better placed. And this is primarily because of very timely steps that government took.
Very, very timely steps that the government has took, right? The government has took, ours has took nothing.
Including rationalization of import duty in case of edible oils, as well as ensuring availability, putting stock limits on certain things. Though these are not normal steps that any government would like to take.
Oh, you hear that shit, Tom? You hear that shit, Bluegrass? These are the things some people would not, okay, that we think, but we say, fuck it, we're going to take it.
But keeping the overall situation, which is globally, COVID followed by the geopolitical situation, which led to disruption of the supply line.
Deception of the supply line. What do you mean deception? What do you mean deception? You mean our government ain't telling the truth? You mean it's the deception of the supply line? My bad.
Production in various countries. Government of India has taken a number of steps which have still been able to help contain food inflation in particular.
Whoa! And India got me how many billions of people? Huh? I think India got more people than China, don't it? India is the most populated country in the world. They got more people than China, I think.
Right.
Paul Krugman, I think on Friday, said that the number one risk to the U.S. economy is that the Fed could overdo it because inflation could come down as quickly as it went up. Is that really possible?
Hell yeah, it's possible. Joe Biden putting all his eggs in the basket with the feds, and the feds can fuck up. The feds didn't know the first wave was coming. The first is still figuring out shit. Oh, we learned this. We learned that. What do you mean you learned? Nigga, you the feds. You supposed to know. Nigga, what the hell you mean, nigga?
We've been a leader in the world in terms of personal rights and privacy rights. And it is a mistake, in my view, for the Supreme Court to do what it did. But I have not seen anyone come up to me do anything other than, nor have you heard them say anything other than, thank you for America's leadership.
You hear that? He hasn't heard anybody, and she hasn't heard anybody come up, right, about the Roe v. Wade talking about you fucking up. They only heard leadership.
You've changed the dynamic of NATO and the G7. So I can understand why the American people are frustrated because of what the Supreme Court did. I can understand why the American people are frustrated because of inflation. But inflation is higher in almost every other country. Prices at the pump are higher in almost every other country. We're better positioned to deal with this than anyone, but we have a way to go. And the Supreme Court, we have to change that decision by codifying Roe v. Wade.
And on the domestic question, sir, what further specific executive actions are you considering in response to the Roe ruling? And would you declare a public health emergency, as several Democrats are calling on you to do?
Call a health emergency. Put these pregnant females on federal land, camps and parks and shit, right? And have a pregnancy abortion clinic on federal land in states, right? You can't say nothing on federal land. You got state law. This is federal law. We can kill as many babies we want. Ah!
I'll be happy to go in detail with you on that. I'm having a meeting with a group of governors when I get home. And if the filibuster gets in the way, it's like voting rights. It should be, we provide an exception for this, require an exception to the filibuster for this action.
Whoa, we're going to have an exception for the filibuster. We're going to have an exception for this just to put our shit in. Then we're going to make it go. Then we're going to close it again. We're going to close the filibuster. But just for our shit, for temporarily purposes only, right? Just so we can get our shit in and go over the Supreme Court head, we're going to go ahead and notify the filibuster. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Fuck it. Just for this one. Temporarily. Just only the Democrats. Right? When we don't like something, we're going to change the rules to get our rules in, then we're going to change them back so we can't get them out. Temporarily, we're going to do it.
There were some comments by some of your counterparts after the U.S. Supreme Court ruling.
It was some, right? You said it wasn't nobody talking about the Supreme Court ruling. You said it wasn't no other world leaders saying you fucked up on the Roe versus Wade. Them are the words coming out of your mouth. What happened about these world leaders? These don't count?
Adriana, the court's ruling made the front pages despite the UK's own current political turmoil, underscoring the significance of the decision. When the Supreme Court struck down Roe versus Wade, the whole world was watching and reacted.
The whole world was watching and reacted. The whole world, Joe, but Joe didn't hear none of this.
In Paris, several dozen protesters took to the streets in solidarity.
Well, you just made some news saying you would support changing the filibuster rules to codify abortion rights broadly across the country.
Right to privacy is not just abortion rights, but yes, abortion rights.
Can you describe for us, sir, many Americans are grappling with this. What is your sense today about the integrity and the impartiality of the Supreme Court? Should Americans have confidence in the court as an institution?
No, we only can have confidence in the Democrats, right? If we put judges on there, we only can have confidence in them. We can't have nothing confident in nothing Republicans do, right? We only can have confidence in the things we do. Nothing Republicans do is right. Nothing about abortions, nothing about what they do want to do with the gas, nothing about what they want to do with the food supply chain, the border. Nothing they want to do is right. Everything we do is right. Our Build Back Better plan was right. Our infrastructure plan is right. Our border plan is right. Our rescue plan was right. Right? All our baby formula with things was right. Everything we done with the China was right. Everything we done was right. The mandates, everything we done was right. So why don't you trust us on this will be right too? We need to change the filibuster because we want to make this right. Only for us. Because we can't trust the Supreme Court because we don't agree with what they say. Right? The Supreme Court just allowed Title 42 to be canceled. It's no longer in effect. I don't see no Republicans running in the streets shooting guns and busting out immigrant detention center windows and shit. I don't see none of that happen. I don't see nobody protesting in the street. Conservatives didn't like it, but I don't see no backlash over it. It just went down. I didn't see no conservatives with guns waiting by the border for the decision to come. Huh? I didn't see no women by the border holding signs saying, if you cross our borders, we're going to cross yours. I don't hear no threats on social media. I don't hear no women crying, talking about Title 42 is going to end our life. The world is over. All the immigrants going to come in and take the jobs and rape the women. I don't hear no conservatives doing none of that. Even though we don't agree, we have to agree with the ruling, right? We don't agree with the judge. We're like, oh, that's some fucked up shit. Judge Roberts is scandalous for that. I ain't finna go burn no shit down, though.
And your views on abortion have evolved in your public life. Are you the best messenger to carry this forward when Democrats, many of them, many progressives, want you to do more?
They want his ass to quit, too. They don't want his ass to run for 2024. So the Democrats want Joe Biden to do a lot of things.
Yeah, I am. I'm the President of the United States of America. That makes me the best messenger. Okay. I'm the only president they got, and I feel extremely strongly that I'm going to do everything in my power, which I legally can do in terms of executive orders.
You're not the only president we got. Donald Trump is the only president we got. His decisions and his policies are still in effect. The ones that work, the ones that are helping the country out are still in effect. His lawyers, his judges, his federal judges, his Supreme Court judges, all of them is still in effect. So Donald Trump is still president. Ha! Look at the primaries. Huh? Look at the people who Trump endorsed. Look at his record. Look at Joe Biden record. What is Joe Biden? 0 for 0? In endorsements, he's 0 for 0. Huh? He's undefeated. He got a better record than Trump because he's undefeated. Joe Biden ain't got a loss when it comes to endorsements. Huh? Any candidate Joe Biden ever endorsed for the 2022 House whatever has never lost. Near one of them. That you can take to the bank.
As well as push the Congress and the public.
But my second question is, G7 leaders this week pledged to support Ukraine, quote, for as long as it takes. And I'm wondering if you would explain what that means to the American people, for as long as it takes. Does it mean indefinite support from the United States for Ukraine? Or will there come a time when you have to say to President Zelensky that the United States cannot support his country any longer?
Especially when Zelensky say the war got to end before the winter, right? If the war got to end before the winter, right, and it don't end before the winter, then what? Then what? We done went from what happened to Vladimir Putin as a war hero. He just blew up a damn mall. They ain't talking about that no more. We gotta start investigating for war crimes. Did Vladimir Putin stop bombing innocent people? Hell no. Y'all still ain't talking about no war crimes. Y'all done got that shit off the table. No more sanctions. Y'all done got that shit off the table. The ruble was high as hell. Y'all done got everything off the table but give Ukraine more money. That's the only thing y'all got on the table. Give more money.
Thank you.
We are going to support Ukraine as long as it takes. They can't even, they're going to have trouble maintaining oil production because they don't have the technology to do it.
Why? We got the technology to produce oil and we ain't doing it, but you worried about Ukraine's? How was that, Joe?
You need American technology.
Here, Secretary Grandholm flew in over 800 miles. We were counting this up just this morning to be here with all of you to take.
Bitch, how much gas is that? 800 miles, bitch. You using up gas and all of those CV4 and all of those shit, CO2?
Your questions.
Spikes in energy costs, that's the largest contributor to overall inflation. But the Fed chairman was on the Hill today, testified, he was asked a question, is the war the primary driver of inflation? And his answer was no.
So we are going to stick with Ukraine, and all of the alliance are going to stick with Ukraine as long as it takes to, in fact, make sure that they are not defeated by Ukraine.
We're going to make sure Ukraine is not defeated by Ukraine, because Ukraine is the only people that can defeat Ukraine. Right? But he gonna stick with Ukraine for as long as it takes. That means your taxpaying money. It's no limit. It's no limit on how much he gonna spend helping Ukraine. So as long as it takes, right? That's how long it's gonna take. No time limit.
Primary driver of inflation in America?
No, inflation was high before, certainly before the war in Ukraine broke out.
How do you square that? Is he wrong?
The fact is still that on January 17th, gas prices were not high by historical standards. They were below what real gas price levels are over the previous decade. So when you talk about the run-up in gas, I don't think there should be any controversy anywhere partisan that is due to Putin's.
And with a Russian defeat of Ukraine in Ukraine. I'm supposed to go down the list here.
Look, he the president. He got to go down the list, right? You can't tell me these questions ain't already set up, and he still don't know how to fucking answer them. And the questions he already know. They set up. Let me go down the list. Who the fuck does that?
Jim Tankersley, New York Times.
Who the fuck does that?
I didn't hear what he said on that, but I think most people acknowledge that the price of fuel is a big driver of inflation. And in fact, they have put large percentages on it. And so
it did go higher since the inauguration based on a number of choices that were made to end leases, to end pipelines. That is, in the beginning, those prices did start to increase at that point.
His full quote was, no, inflation was high before, certainly before the war broke out.
Mr. President, thank you. This week, you and the G7 allies introduced a plan for an oil price cap.
An oil price cap. The G7 look what the G7 introduced, right? Look what they try to introduce. You know this shit ain't gonna work. So you mean to tell me the G7, the most powerful country supposed to be in the fucking nation, done came up to a meeting and came up with a damn plan to lower the tax on gas. And watch this so-called plan.
For Russian exports, which is not yet filled out, and obviously is a response to the high price of gasoline in the United States and around the world. Are you confident that that cap would bring down prices for American drivers? And how long is it fair to expect American drivers to continue to pay a premium because of this war?
Right? They gonna put a cap on Russia oil. I want you to hear Joe Biden explain this shit.
Well, I think most would say that the price of fuel has exacerbated inflation.
Let me hear this. The second part of the question was, would it bring down the price?
Will it bring down prices? And
I told you Joe Biden don't remember the first part of the question. You can't ask him two questions.
the war has pushed prices up. They could go as high as $200 a barrel, some analysts think. How long is it fair to expect American drivers and drivers around the world to pay that premium for this war?
And is there any...
Right? If economists say the oil can go up to $200 a barrel, right? That's damn near double what the gas is right now. That's $10 a gallon in some states, right? So what are you going to do? And the economists are saying that the gas is going to go up to damn near $10 a damn gallon.
Any concern that this gas tax holiday will increase demand and then thereby increase inflation? Some economists and analysts have been raising that.
Right? Some people saying, right, if the gas go down, it's going to increase the demand, right? And if you increase the demand, you increase the prices. What most Republicans and conservatives saying, them knocking down the prices, right? Them knocking down the demand. Them knocking down the prices and knocking down demand. Up the production. If you up the production, oil would go down, right? And you wouldn't worry about no fucking demand. The demand can be as much as you want. If you increase the production, you can take off all the taxes you want to, right? And then when you take off a tax here and a tax there, then people start going back to their regular business, start driving back to work and taking holiday trips and catching planes again. Oh, well, you know what? We got to go up on gas again because of the demand. Right? People are holding back on gas right now because of the prices. If you knock it down $1, right, you still gonna have the same demand, and people gonna up their demand because they're gonna up they're gonna up this. And it's gonna be the same supply. We're gonna lower the price by 18 cents by $1 by all this old shit. Okay, go ahead and do it. What? People who was catching the bus to work gonna now drive. People who's walking gonna get back in their car. People gonna take trips again. It's only natural. Gas gonna go up. Then they're gonna run that shit. Oh, demand is fucked up. It gotta go back up. We pumping just as much. We done took the taxes off. We done lowered the price of gas. Because of demand, the prices went back up. It's a setup.
As long as it takes. So Russia cannot, in fact, defeat Ukraine and move beyond Ukraine.
Right? We're going to do it as long as it takes. Right? We're going to pay the prices as long as it takes. That's what your president telling him. He asked, how long if we expect to pay these high-ass prices, especially if gas go up to $200 a barrel? The nigga says, as long as it takes. Don't worry about it.
This is a critical position for the world. Here we are Why do we have NATO?
Yeah, I understand that. And I also know that this president is focused on costs for real people as well.
Let me explain the price. I suggested a while ago that what we should consider doing is putting a cap on the amount of money that we would pay for, the world would pay for Russian oil.
Did you hear that? We're going to put a cap on what the world would pay for Russian oil. The whole G7 done got together, and wherever the fuck they got together and came up with a plan, we're going to tell Russia what we're going to pay for their oil. That's our plan.
And this cost of gas is the most tangible, most real for people at the pump. So he wants to do everything.
And that we would not provide, the West provides insurance, would not insure Russian ships carrying oil. We would not provide insurance for them, so they would have great difficulty getting customers.
He understands the importance of it. He's very concerned about inflation, obviously. It's a top priority.
Well, we'd certainly welcome inflation coming down more quickly than expected.
And he's also concerned about this price at the pump, and he's going to do what he can to resolve that. So, as we all know, the summer driving season is...
Summer driving season, right? Gas for the naturally go up. They got to put an extra thing in the tank, right? So gas for the naturally go up, right? To what prices? We don't know. It's going to be extra tax because we never know how much they're going to charge for the extra incentive or the extra whatever chemicals they put in that gas, because that also went up, right? So how much gas is going to go up this summer? So it's going to be a different hit on you, right? If you travel, right? If you go to work, if you commute, it's going to be a whole different price on you, right? Because your wages ain't going to go up over the summer. Your wages ain't going to go up as long as they having a war. Your wages going to stay the same. Let gas go up to $20 or $15 or $10 or whatever. Your money is going to stay the same. They're not giving no more reliefs and tax breaks. They can't do it no more. They fucked up on the first time. They can't do it no more. Now they got to spend their money on other shit. So they can't come and save you. Or they can give you a tax and they coming up with all kind of shit. None of it work. The only thing that work is more production.
Underway, and Americans are paying more at the pump every time they fill up their gas tank. This is a global problem. There are two causes for it, which these high prices derive from. One is, of course, Vladimir Putin's war.
No, the war could...
She didn't want to say that. You see how she took a deep breath? One is Vladimir Putin, price hike. Like, come on, you know better than that, bitch. Come on.
End tomorrow, by the way, if Russia stops its irrational behavior. So, when the war will end, I hope it ends sooner than later. But for it to end, they have to be in a position where the Ukrainians have all that they can reasonably expect, we can reasonably expect to get to them in order to provide for their physical security and their defenses.
What that meant, I can't even translate. You do that shit on your own. You can rewind that shit if you want to. I'm not even gonna try to translate what the fuck he said right there on how the war gonna end and the conditions of the war ending. I'm not even gonna try to translate that. I'm sorry.
That, and secondly, the supply and refining capacity constraint.
And so one does not relate to the other. We're going to be providing another, well, I guess I'll announce it shortly, but another $800 million in aid for additional weaponry, including, weapons.
He don't even know weapons or how much money. 800 million. We're gonna send it over there, but for new weaponry, them weapons,
including air defense system, as well as offensive weapons. I have a whole list I'd be happy to give to you, but
Well, big picture, think of it this way. A gas tax holiday is almost like a staycation. You can't truly get away from reality. And all of those factors you mentioned are a lot of reality.
And of course, other countries are dealing with this as well. If you went to the UK today for a gallon equivalent, you would be paying.
You see how they always want to blame, like if we got problems, so what, other countries' problems are bigger? We're not comparing ourselves to other countries. We're comparing ourselves to ourselves and our standard of living, right? We're comparing ourselves to our standard, our country, and how our country has the history of coming out of this stuff, and you holding us back. We're not worried about the other country. We're worried about us.
$7.71. If you went to France, you'd be paying $8.49. If you went to Canada, you'd be paying over $6 per gallon. If you went to Singapore, you'd be paying over $9 per gallon. This is happening around the world. And President Biden, like all other leaders around the world, are grappling with this for their citizens. And the president is doing everything he can to reduce prices for American families.
For example, if President Biden
The hell he is.
feels that oil companies, gas companies, energy providers should drill more, should refine more, well, it's a real economic investment on their part.
The point is that we've said to them, here's the deal. We're going to allow you to have a profit on what you make,
Talking to the gas companies in Russia.
but not the exorbitant prices that you're charging for the oil now.
At a time when he is calling for more green energy, more of a transition to solar and to wind.
And that's why we're laying a foundation for this clean energy economy with the president.
If I'm an energy company, despite this moral imperative that many in the public feel should take place at this time, it would be the right thing to do. It's a really lofty investment when I'm not sure how much I'm going to get back in return.
Ooh, Buffalo Soldier, you heard that? Next! How much am I going to get back in return? Huh? I'm not sure I'm not going to get nothing back in return. Why in the fuck am I going to invest? Does it make any sense?
I know have made the claim that this administration is in the way of domestic production, but the numbers here are inarguable.
They're in the way of production. People are saying your administration is in the way of production.
The bottom line is, ultimately, the reason why gas prices are up is because of Russia.
The consumer prices went up by 7.5% year over year in January, before the invasion began, and that was the fastest pace since February of 1982.
Russia, Russia, Russia. The reason why the food crisis exists is because of Russia.
It's gotten worse since then because we've seen prices for gasoline, natural gas go up. We've seen food prices go up. And so inflation was a big problem. It's gotten even bigger.
It's on your trip to Saudi Arabia, which is...
Right? But you're going to try every tool in your tool bag, like the lower the price and the pain at the pump. Every tool in your tool bag, you said.
Coming up next month. As we just discussed, Americans are paying almost $5 a gallon nationally on average for gas. So do you expect to ask the Crown Prince or the King to increase oil production? And if so, how will you balance that with your desire to hold them accountable for their human rights abuses?
Oh, right? If you're going to ask them to pump more gas, then how you going to hold them accountable for their human rights abuses, right? Right? Think about this, right? The average gallon of gas, he say, costs $5, right? That means some states are less than $5, right? If you was to eliminate the states that have $8 gas, right? $7 gas, gas that's $2 over the average, and knock them down to $5, right? And keep the other states the same, possibly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm fuck the other states, but keep the other states the same, possibly. You know that $5 worth of gas will go down to possibly $4 or $3 or some shit like that. Because some people paying it because it's an average. That means it meets in the middle. If I had an average of 20 points a game throughout the season, that means some games I score 40, some games I score 15. But it's an average of about around 20.
Really, the White House is searching for solutions here, but let's sum up what we just heard, right? One, not likely to get through Congress. Two, if it gets through Congress, it's going to have a minimal impact on your wallet, right? What do we say? $2.70 every time you fill up your tank. Not a big mover.
Well, first of all, that's not the purpose of the trip. The purpose of the trip, first of all, I'm starting off on that trip in Israel. And the Israelis are...
I'm not going to ask for no gas, right? And I'm not going to hold him accountable. All that shit I was talking about earlier, I'm going to hold him accountable. He's a parasite and all this old shit, a piranha or whatever the fuck you call him, right? But when I get over there, I'm not going to ask for gas, and I'm not going to hold him accountable for killing a journalist. I'm not going to do nothing. That's not my purpose.
Believe it's really important that I make the trip.
And then also it could backfire by making demand worse. It's not going to address supply. It doesn't help the revenue situation. There's a lot of drawbacks there.
Buffalo Soldier helped my revenue situation. Pittsburgh Rick helped my financial situation. What's up, Pittsburgh Rick? You thought I forgot your son, Pittsburgh Rick? Bluegrass Berserker is helping, And Time is always helping. Where's Time at? Time still in the business. Time! Good looking out, Pittsburgh Rick. Next!
And in addition to that, what we're trying to do is that G7, it's the Gulf states plus 3. And so I'm sure that it's in Saudi Arabia, but it's not about Saudi Arabia.
I know Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the whole Middle East is fucked up right now. Like, what is this nigga coming over here for? I'm confused. Anybody got a translator on what the fuck Joe Biden's saying in America? I'm confused. Any Americans over here? Who in the fuck know what Joe Biden's saying right now? Somebody translate for me.
It's in Saudi Arabia. And so there's no commitment that is being made, or I'm not even sure. I guess I will see the king and the crown prince, but that's not the meeting I'm going to. They'll be part of a much larger meeting.
I don't know what the fuck he's saying, right? Is he gonna ask the nigga for the oil or not?
Only way out of these boom and bust cycles is to break that sole reliance, and that means diversifying our fuel sources by deploying clean energy.
If you were to see the crown prince or the king, would you ask them to increase oil production?
No, I'm not going to ask him.
You said...
But you're going to try every tool in your toolbox, but you ain't going to ask him to help out on the oil situation. But, I mean, what other tools you got? I mean, I guess that's not in your toolbox.
That this will bring immediate relief if it gets passed to drivers, but if there's no guarantee from companies that they will pass on these benefits to those drivers, isn't there a chance that this passes and consumers, drivers see no benefit whatsoever?
Well, it's one of the reasons why I'm meeting with the refiners tomorrow, the oil companies tomorrow, to ensure that they would pass this on.
On the summit,
we're going to make sure the oil companies pass the savings on. Yeah, right.
You just said that there would be another round of security assistance for Ukraine. After hearing President Zelensky's assessment that the war needs to end before the winter, are you changing your calculation in terms of the pace of the assistance and what kind of assistance you're sending to Ukraine?
Right, because that shit coming up real soon. In what, 3 months? It's going to be the winter. It got to be over.
Did you and President Biden consult with Democratic leaders on Capitol Hill about them actually being willing to pass something like this before the president's speech today?
And we would take that into account in our policy. So look, as I mentioned earlier, we're very strongly committed to using our tools to get inflation to come down. The way to do that,
everybody got tools. How many toolbox these motherfucking Democrats got?
Is to slow down growth, ideally keep it positive, and as I mentioned, supply and demand get back into balance. So that's what we're trying to accomplish.
If in this meeting tomorrow the refiners don't play ball or are not responding in a satisfactory way. What is the administration prepared to do? What emergency powers is the administration prepared to use?
None, right? If they don't play ball, how you gonna make them drill? How you gonna make them do some shit and they can't get no money out of it? You want them to drill and invest in the green in the energy. Well, you can drill, but you gotta invest all your money into the clean energy field, not into more oil, not into more fracking, not into your future, but you can drill only if you invest in our future.
The next step here.
Yeah.
Is there a risk that we would go too far? Certainly, there's a risk.
We want to, and we must move to a clean energy future.
But I wouldn't agree that it's the biggest risk to the economy. I think that, the bigger mistake to make, let's put it that way, would be to fail to restore price stability.
Price stability. What about demand? What about fucking supply increase? Increase the supply. Fuck the demand. Fuck the prices. Increase the supply.
And we can accelerate production right now. I mean, let's be very clear that fossil fuels will remain in the mix of the energy system of the globe for years to come. This is why we call this a transition.
A transition, right? So the oil refineries got to transition into clean energy.
The risk is that because of a multiplicity of shocks, you start to transition into a higher inflation regime. And our job is literally to prevent that from happening. And we will prevent that from happening. We will not allow a transition from a low inflation environment into a high inflation environment.
They said they would not allow it. Who's going to stop you? Right? Joe Biden said they're going to help out Ukraine as long as it takes. Joe Biden say it's Vladimir Putin price hike. Right? It's Joe Biden who turned to the feds. Right? Now we're supposed to believe in you and you didn't know the shit was coming? We're not going to allow inflation to get high. Who's going to stop it?
If you're putting yourselves in the shoes of some of these refiners or some of these oil producers, what guarantee can the administration give them as you're asking them to increase production, that more regulation as you pursue that transition isn't coming down the pipe for them? As you're asking them to
we're asking them to increase supply. We're not telling them we're going to increase regulation on them. We are hopeful that they will see the opportunity of investing as well in this clean energy future.
Do you see that? We're asking you to increase the supply and invest in the clean energy. These are the guarantees you get. The only guarantees you get is to invest in the clean energy. Them the only regulations we got. The real regulations, right? This is how much they're investing in the clean energy. They want the oil company, the oil industry, to invest too. To use their profits to invest in the clean energy.
We want to build clean energy, and we know that ultimately that's where our security will lie.
I've asked Congress, would they in fact go and temporarily end the tax on gasoline at the pump?
Senator Manchin said he's not yet a yes on this. Steny Hoyer said he's not sure that they have the votes to pass this. Why is the president proposing something that doesn't have the support of Democrats yet?
Well, that gas shit ain't got the support of Democrats, and he said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Why?
Well, for it to pass. This is strategy to get it passed. So the president obviously making this announcement ahead of the July 4th holiday. What is he going to do to get those Democrats and Republicans on board to pass this? And how does he respond to the criticism from some Republicans that this is a stunt because he doesn't have the votes?
Well, he's going to be having these conversations with Democrats.
What do you say to lawmakers who are already calling this federal gas tax holiday a gimmick and say
they're on her ass? Well, he's going to talk to the Democrats. That's not an answer.
Saying best case scenario, it'll save drivers about $20 a month.
And thirdly, to ask the states to do the same thing. If we do these things, it's estimated we could bring down tomorrow, if Congress agreed and the states agreed, we could bring down the price of oil about $1 a gallon at the pump.
Well, there's no doubt this is a modest, if it were just the federal gas tax, right, 18 cents is a modest, a modest amount.
18 states, they're asking everybody to knock off the gas. The state, the feds, and the states, the feds, the oil industry, the gas stations, they asking everybody to knock off money, right? They knocking down the money, but that's not going to help out with the supply. People are going to buy more gas.
But if you combine it with, if the states, you know, not all states would do it, but certain states might be willing to, some already have, you combine it with that. If the oil and gas industry is willing to reduce prices
in that range.
You hear that? Oil and gas industry, everybody got to reduce it. The gas station, the oil industry, everybody got to reduce it, right? To make it ease at the pump. Ain't nobody going to do that. People need profit. They got to buy oil.
And so we could have immediate relief in terms of the reduction of the elimination of temporary elimination of the gas tax.
You don't know what the fuck he talking about. What is he talking about? Temporary relief. You said the million gallons a day you keep on bragging about was going to ease the pump. Gas risen since then. That shit ain't put a dent up in it. Right? Now we're going to knock off the 18 cent Fed tax. That's not going to put a dent in it. Because gas going to go right back up because of demand.
Appears to be more of a medium-term solution. According to you, how much of an impact do you think that will have immediately on gas prices?
If you were to see the crown prince of the king, would you ask them to increase oil production?
Increase, right? That's how you knock down, right? That's how you knock it down. Increase the supply. But Joe Biden like, hell no, I'm not going to ask him, right? Because I know that's the only thing would knock down the gas price would increase, not gas prices, not demand, not a price tax and all of those shit, right? The only thing would knock down the the gas prices would be supply, more gas, right? If it's two people, if I'm the only person on the block selling weed, I can sell it for how much I want to. But if it's 10 other people that's selling weed on the block, I gotta sell my weed a little bit cheaper or make it a little bit bigger, right? Then the next motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, they even compete. So now it's a competition to lower the prices and fatten the sacks. The same with the oil, right? You produce more oil refineries and you produce more supply, right? Then the price go down because people are able to buy more oil. And then they can compete more. Because they ain't got to worry about not having gas. Some gas stations in LA be closed for a day. Till they get more gas. People, the cheap gas stations, you'll see them closed for a day. Taped off like somebody got murdered up there. They ain't got no more gas to the mall. They sold out. So they got to keep their gas high because they don't know them days they're going to miss out on a whole day of having gas. What if it was 2 days? You know how much a whole day is for a gas station, a privately owned business?
No, I'm not going to ask. I'm going to ask, all the Gulf states are meeting. I've indicated to them that I thought they should be increasing oil production generically, not to the Saudis particularly.
I asked them. I didn't ask them particularly, but I asked the whole people. But not Joe Biden, a lying son of a bitch.
Is the question to ask them. I mean, you know, obviously building a new refinery is a much longer strategy, right? But they have, there have been refineries that have been announced to be closed. There are some that have recently closed. What is the capacity? These are the questions. What is the capacity to bring some of that, and what is their capacity to bring more capacity online? These are the questions that we'll be asking.
Yeah, right? These are the questions that's going to be asked. Remember, the first, before all, I'm taking you back 2 years, before the Vladimir Putin price hike, right? Before the war in Ukraine. I'm taking you back a year ago, right? This is before Vladimir Putin supposed to put a damn tank on the damn border. It was a gas shortage, right? And Joe Biden fixed his mouth to say, right? He didn't have nothing to blame. He didn't have the pandemic. He didn't have Vladimir Putin. He didn't have the recession, right? The only thing Joe Biden say is, don't use more gas than you need. right? And then he fixed his mouth and say, it's going to be temporary. This is a year ago when he said this. So when you say about the Vladimir Putin price hike, how is it a Vladimir Putin price hike when a year ago you was telling us don't use as much gas as you need? Supply is going to come back.
The pumps or gas stations with no gas can be extremely stressful. But this is a temporary situation. Do not get more gas than you need in the next few days.
Huh? Remember that was his solution? Remember the gas stations was running out of gas? Remember supply couldn't keep up with demand? Remember that? When the gas was reasonable? Before it was going up with all these ridiculous ass prices? He said, wait a minute, gas going up too high. Stop getting gas. Don't you get as much gas as you need. That was the only thing he can blame it on. He had nothing to blame it on then. Now he got 5 or 6 other things to blame it on. But back then he was like, well, gas stations was running out of gas. The supply wasn't keeping up with the demand. People was getting off of COVID. The supply was only naturally going to go up. But supply didn't. The supply was still in the demand, right, that we was going through when we had... Oh, shit, I dropped the weed pen again. I got to stop putting that shit in my lap. Scared the shit out of me. I got to stop putting that shit in my lap because that shit falls. It sounds like a gunshot or something, right? But the price was going up back then. So Joe Biden never took responsibility for any of this price hike shit. None. It's always Putin. It's always China. It's always supply. It's always something else. He never took responsibility for it.
Who are expected at this meeting tomorrow with you are expected to talk about sort of urging the administration not to ban fuel exports, and that is something that we're reporting from sources. I'm just sort of wondering what your response to that would be if such a demand is made, and are you considering such a decision in the first place?
As I said, we expect the situation to begin to improve by the weekend and into early next week, and gasoline supply is coming back online.
Huh? Remember that? Remember, he was talking about gas is coming back on. We remember this, Joe Biden. So how you telling these gas companies to lower their prices, right, after pump, right, when you can barely keep up with supply when it was low? So that means it can't go low because no matter what, the gas companies can't keep up with supplies. I mean, with the demand or the supply. So what you got to do? You got to increase the supply. The key word is increase. There's no money reduction. There's nothing. And you keep on saying the Republicans not helping you. They telling you every fucking chance they get. Hey, you can do this. You can build more pipelines. They giving you the plan. Every time you look on Fox, they giving you the plan. Donald Trump giving you the plan. What do you mean they not helping you out? They giving you the fucking plan. Increase the production. We got our own oil. Drill at home. Release some of the restrictions. They telling you. This is how we going to do it. Huh? I'm pretty sure they be bipartisan on that because they telling you, Joe Biden, this is what's going to do it. We'll help you on this. We'll help you with the fuel company. We'll help you with the gas industry. We'll help you with all of that. But you telling them, hell no, we're going to get this clean energy. And they're like, no, we can't do that right now. We got to do both. So you feuding with them. And they wouldn't have helped you. But every time you fix them out, the Republicans ain't helping me do shit. Right? But you told us in our face, gas is the supply is going to come back online. Right? Gas production is going to increase. You telling us this shit. And prices are stored. Don't drive as much or use as much gas as you're supposed to.
And panic buying will only slow the process.
Panic buying. What do you mean panic buying? Right? People don't buy gas just to use it. Right? I'm gonna buy this whole tank of gas so I can drive around in it because I'm afraid gas might run out. Who does that? I can see food or toilet paper or something like that, but nigga, not gas. Who in the fuck panic and buy gas? Buy extra gas. Huh? Is people buying gas and putting it inside of gas funnels and keeping it in their garage? Just in case I'm finna buy $100 of unleaded and keep it in my garage. Who in the fuck hoard buying gas? Oh, gas is $5. Let me hoard buy so I can drive around LA, you know what I'm saying, watch this cheap before it rises again. I've been spending $100 just driving around LA doing nothing just because gas is high, low right now. I'm finna hoard this gas because I don't know when it's gonna go back up to $5.21 or $6. So let me buy as much as I can now. Or maybe people bought a half a tank is buying a full tank. You buying a full tank? That's gas gouging. Go back to your half a tank. So we can keep up with production. Having a full tank is gas gouging. If everybody got a half a tank, it'll save or more on gas consumption or gas supply and gas demand. So everybody, instead of getting a full tank, just get a half a tank. Huh? Like you're not gonna need the other half later on. Okay, I can get a half a tank now, but nigga, I'm still going to have the other half eventually. Cause I still got to drive back and forth to work. So what's the use of me getting a half a tank now and a half a tank later? It still add up to a full. Because now instead of taking one trip to the gas tank a week, I'm taking two. I'm spending 50 and 50 instead of 100. So what the fuck is it doing? You're saving on gas. Don't buy as much gas as you need.
I will say this, there have been an awful lot of solutions that the president has been considering over.
And I also want to say something to the gas stations. Do not, I repeat, do not try to take advantage of consumers during this time.
Huh? Remember that? Remember you blaming on the gas companies? Oh, when the gas come back online, when y'all finally get gas back on demand, don't price and y'all buy for a high ass price because of supply chain issues, right? And the global market is, whatever is going up, right? Don't pass on the prices to the customers. Keep your prices the same. I'm warning you. What? He's trying to go ahead and say it before, right? Because he knew the gas was going to be high as shit, so he tried to jump ahead of the curve. And I'm telling the gas companies right now, right? Don't do it. Don't go up on American, right? And as soon as the gas go up, I told you the gas company's going to do it. You know what I'm saying? I told you. I was warning you about this. They price gouging. They ain't got to do that. I told you. I was warning you. No, Joe Biden, you just threw some shit out because you already was trying to jump ahead of the ball so you can deflect the blame. Blame them ahead of the time so when they come, I can blame them as again and say, see, I told you they was going to price gouge. It's their fault, not ours. We ain't got nothing to do with it.
I'm going to work with governors in the affected states to put a stop to price gouging wherever it arises.
Right? So you mean to tell me in a whole fucking year that you've been working with the FBI, the DOJ, the Justice Department, and all that old shit, right, for price gouging, you ain't brought one case up yet? And been a whole year, you've been saying they've been price gouging, and you've been saying you've been working with the DOJ to investigate this shit for a whole year, and you ain't found one case, y'all ain't indicted one motherfucker yet for price gouging? One person. And you still blaming the oil industry, but you ain't indicted one person on price gouging. What did that tell you?
The overturning of Roe comes as many countries have eased restrictions on abortions in recent years, including overwhelmingly Catholic Ireland, Mexico, and Colombia. But the Vatican praised yesterday's decision, saying, by choosing life, Our responsibility for the future of humanity is at stake.
That wasn't supposed to be up in there, but I understand that. What the hell Mexico got to do with our damn border laws, and they sitting up there cheering about
According to the
that because they finna come over here and get abortions. Viva la Barbada, leave my water for abortions. We need to come over there and fuck up your medical system.
And I'm asking our federal agencies to stand ready to provide assistance to state-level efforts to monitor and address any price gouging at the pump.
Right? It hasn't been none, Joe. You got all these teams and all these investigators, right, to monitor price gouging, and they ain't came up with one case. So what did I tell you? You can knock the oil industry off the map because price gouging is illegal, and I don't think ain't nobody at the pump, no private owned business is gonna lose a whole license by price gouging, right? I'm gonna lose my whole private license and whole business and whole livelihood because I want a price gouge. Who does that? No one. So you can cancel the paying at the pump on the gas station because you yourself say you got a team of investigators to investigate that shit. So if it was any wrongdoing, it would have been investigated by now. They would have been brought to court. They'd have been indicted. I haven't heard of one case of price gouging at the pump.
Nobody should be using this situation for financial gain. That's what the hackers are trying to do. That's what they're about, not us.
That's what they're about, not us. Always deflecting the blame. Your president on the world stage lying about our economy is better. And these in front of G7 press conference, G7 news media and all that. In front of leaders. You get up here lying about our inflation, lying about our Supreme Court, lying about division, right? Lying about honesty, talking about you better do a filibuster, lying about Roe v. Wade in front of the world. That's a damn shame. This is your president, Mr. Joe Biden. I'm up out this bitch. I got shit to do. I'll talk to you next time, later on tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you enjoyed the skit. Thank you everybody who donated. I will see you tomorrow. See you later, Tom. I'll see you in the building. Tom's in the building. The nigga press secretary ain't. I'll see y'all later on the rebound. I'm out this bitch.